What up, New York Giant Nation and football fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan, with my super dope co-host, Adam Costas. And y'all know what time it is. It is the real deal NFC East Round-Up. Punch that intro, baby. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Y'all know what time it is. It is Wednesday evening, so y'all know it's time for the real deal NFC East Round-Up. It's good, everybody. What's going on, Mitch? Coach Ed in the chat. Thanks for stopping in, man. Appreciate it. What's going on, Adam, man?
How are you, Mac? We're 5-1, right, man?
Yes, indeed. 5-1, and it feels great to be a New York Giant fan right now. Even though we might be the most unconventional 5-1 that you ever seen, but 5-1 is 5-1, man. I'm gonna take it every day of the week and twice on Sunday, baby.
Hey, listen, 5-1 is, didn't they say that in 2000? We're the ugliest team to be 12-4, And I saw a meme online where the guy goes, this team is going to the playoffs, and quoted Jim Fossil. So I think it was Big Dash. Shout out to Big Dash on throwing that quote out there. I'm very excited. There's Miz.
What's going on, Miz? What's up, Logan? But yeah, indeed, man. 5-1, man. It's winning. All this winning, man. It's starting to feel so good, man. Now I'm too used to it. Now I'm just ready to keep it going, man. We got like some games coming up that can keep adding to that win total, man. Hopefully we can do that, man, for sure. But
Yeah.
we're gonna get right on into it, folks. And unfortunately, we're gonna have to start with the ugliest game of the week, probably. And that was on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime.
Do we have our money back?
This ugly ass game here, the Washington Commanders at the Chicago Bears, man, and it is not a lot to talk about here, brother. Carson Wentz, man, falling 1 yard short of 100 yards passing on the day and gets hurt in the process, man.
Great quote.
Not much going on in this game at all, man. It was just, as you see, the score was 12-7. Not a lot of offense. What's up, Alex? Thanks for stopping in, man. It was just a bad day all across the board, man. This one, man. Nobody seemed to want this game. Chicago literally comes up about an inch short of winning this football game on the last play, man. I don't know. I don't have much to say about this. This Washington team, they got the win, but they're still terrible.
They are terrible. But maybe this is addition by subtraction by having Carson Wentz go away. Maybe they'll get Tyler Heineke. Maybe it'll rejuvenate the team. I have no idea. All I know is I hope you weren't watching football for the first time on Thursday night and were turned away, because there are more games out there than this one. And I really want to let the world know, like, I know you got 3 hours. You won't get those 3 hours back, but some of the other games we're going to talk about will reinvigorate you in this football world. Don't let the Commanders and the Bears ruin your football watching experience. And I know this Thursday's game is not much better, but here we go.
I mean, you should see a little bit of offense in this Thursday night's game at least. But yeah, only news to take away from this game is Carson Wentz getting hurt, and he's going to be out for I don't know how long, but they're going with Taylor Heineke. I guess that decision is being made over Sam Howell, maybe just because they want to try to still, while it's still early enough in the season, salvage what's left of this season. possibly if they have any opportunity to turn it around a little bit, maybe they feel like they got a better opportunity with Taylor Heineke right now in this current moment. I don't know. That's really the thought process. What's going on, Jerry's? If that's the thought process, I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm trying to get inside the Washington people's minds. I don't know if that's their thought process, thinking they can have some kind of way of turning this season around. It is. They're 2-4 with plenty of football left to be played. But I don't know.
Well,
this team. This team is bad.
Let me think about why they might do this. I'll tell you why. Well, Tyler Heineke, you can't let the other veterans down, right? There are guys in there in that locker room, regardless of how we feel, want to win the game. And this, if you're a coach and you're Ron Rivera, gives you the best chance to win. Now, if they get eliminated or lose the next few games and are, mathematically out of it, and let's say there's 4 or 5 games left in the season and Carson Wentz is not back or you don't want to bring him back, then I try Sam Howell out. But I understand what Ron Rivera is doing. As much as he's gotten beaten up this season, here it is. This is the quarterback, right? You poo-pooed the one quarterback who stinks, Carson Wentz, even though you brought him in. And now you have Tyler Heineke, a guy who's been with you loyal. Let's see what they can do here. And that's the only reason why I think they're going to start him over Sam Howell outside of Sam Howell may not knowing everything. But to me, if I were in their position, if this was the Giants and they had a young quarterback on the team, I'd be starting them. I'd be trying to get him in the game involved a little bit just so I see what I have and I know what I know for going into next year. Because right now, you ain't going nowhere.
It's not looking like it, man. Not when you're in a division with a 5-1
team,
a 4-2 team, and a 6-0 team. I mean, your 2-4 start is just put them in a really big hole right from the door.
This is why this is why I'm not the NFC East anymore, because this is what's happening. We might have 3 teams go to the NFC playoffs. Again, that's yet to be determined, but we could be excited about the thought process of it all, right? At least the 3 other teams. So Washington, get your shit together and figure it out. I think this is the last. I don't even know who do they play next. Let me just bring up their schedule real quick. I think it was somebody.
They play Green Bay on Sunday.
Okay, so Green Bay's in a slump.
For 2 straight losses.
This is the Green Bay slump buster game because they lost to both New York teams. So I think they're going to be their get right game. So this might be the game where you start to see Sam Howell incorporated because you're probably not going to win this game. You probably might good night the lights in the season this week.
That's quite possible. But yeah, I'm really
night the lights on this game.
Yeah, I don't want to spend any more time talking about this. This was a debacle. It was this back-to-back terrible Thursday night games. Hopefully this one can get a little better this week because it was bad. It was very bad. So we're going to move on to a much, much better game here. The New York Football Giants hosting the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday, 1 o'clock, MetLife Stadium. And once again, get to that fourth quarter, and it looks like, everybody counting the New York Giants out. Everybody but themselves. Once again, pulling off yet another just amazing comeback late in this game and taking out Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, who absolutely appeared to have owned the Giants most of the day.
Absolutely. Over 100 yards, way over 100 yards rushing for that team.
So yeah, it was just this win was just phenomenal. Was fascinating, phenomenal, man. The way they came back late in that game, took advantage, capitalized on the mistakes. That's what the New York Giants are doing this year. They're capitalizing on mistakes that the other teams are making. They're taking advantage of those turnovers, and they're turning them into points, man. The first interception of the season for the New York Giants couldn't have come at a better time, man. This game, that was the play that was absolutely needed for this team. And the offense goes and puts it right in the end zone, man. So this team, man, this is a different New York Giants team, and they still not putting no respect on the New York Giants, but that's okay, because that's when the New York Giants keep responding and playing their best ball, as history has told us. as New York Giants fans. So let them keep disrespecting the New York Giants, man, and we'll just keep knocking them out the box, man. One win, 1 week at a time.
1 week at a time. You're right. Well, Mac, this is a game. This is a game of 3 plays and 3 errant plays. One, the missed field goal by the Ravens. We did not know that was going to come back to haunt us. But if that is on the board, maybe we don't see the play that happened. Number 2, the illegal formation penalty / fumble that happened. Slash interception that happened. So they get the illegal procedure penalty. They move back 5 yards. If they had gotten that, good night, the lights on the game, because the Ravens were driving and they probably would have been done. Then the last play is the sack fumble. But before that, they had the drop pass to the receiver to start the drive. So once that happened, that kind of set the momentum of where the Giants were going to go. And Kayvon Thibodeau, with his first sack of the season, and hopefully many more coming his way. That guy was off. If you watched the game, he was coming off the line like a reckless, abandoned player. Man, he was just flying by that tackle. So good for him to get that strip sack. And the thing I like about this team is, they don't give up. They don't fold. They keep fighting. And this is what Joe Judge envisioned his team to be when he came out and said, hey, we're going to punch you in the nose for 60 minutes. Well, guess what? He's off flipping pizzas with the Patriots, and we're here winning games with an actual coach who understands the dynamic of his team. And good win for Wink Martindale. I know there's a lot of talk about that. But to get into this game, the nitty-gritty for me, when I watched the Ravens on offense against our defense, I really felt like the Giants' offense. But what I felt was the Giants scored on 4 of 10 series. 2 were close out of the halves. Enough, even though that's not a great yardage, it's offensive efficiency. Coach, we'll get into offensive efficiency, and I got something I got to mention to you too. But the game was funny because when you looked at the Ravens, it felt like the Giants just – in the AFC side, they do the same thing. They don't have receivers that are well-known household names. Well, now they do. They have Deshaun Jackson 1 week too late, obviously. But they got Deshaun Jackson now. This game, they have no-name receivers. Guess what? Giants have no-name receivers. They have one really big player.
Adam, I'm sorry. They got Mark Andrews, brother. He is not a no.
I was just getting there. They have one other skilled player that's really good, and that was Mark Andrews, like Barkley, okay? And then they have their quarterback, who is very dynamic, and then we have our quarterback, obviously, who does kind of similar things. So they do very similar things on the field, right? They have one good offensive player on each side, and that's Mark Andrews. One is Saquon Barkley, or established great player, right? So for me, it was kind of watching a carbon copy. I really, really do think that it was very fun. On the flip side of it, our defense needs to shore up the run game because 110 yards, I think it was 110 yards. I think let me double check that, but there was a lot of yardage given up. 119 yards by the running back on 10 carries, 7 carries for 77 yards by Lamar Jackson, both averaging over 11 yards a carry. That cannot happen if you're going to be a playoff team down the stretch. I know that we play some weaker teams, so maybe we can shore that up this coming weeks, but you're not going to win many football games doing that because I think, I hate to say this, people, I think this team had the blueprint on how to beat the New York Giants. And I think many teams going forward, if they can match personnel, they'll figure out how to do this and kind of match up what the Ravens did.
I mean, I don't know. The run, I agree. The run defense definitely needs to tighten up. It wasn't a good performance from that aspect of the game. But at the same time, when you got a threat like Lamar Jackson out there, it's always going to give your defense something extra to think about. You know what I mean? So it's kind of that double-edged sword as well. I'm not going to knock what Kenyon Drake did because I'm not going to just downplay his performance. He made some good plays out there. But I think when you got a quarterback as dynamic as Lamar Jackson, who's the threat that he is, it just always keeps the defense a little bit on their heels and probably does make it a little easier for his running backs, you know what I mean, to make some plays here and there. And Kenyon Drake made the most of his opportunities, obviously, like you said, 10 carries for 119 yards.
I'm going to agree with you, but I'm going to disagree because on the other side, the Giants have the similar skill set. Okay, they have a running back and a quarterback who do most of their running, who are the players that exceed their run game, right? And on that side, the Ravens held Saquon Barkley to 3.8 yards a carry, which is the lowest carry total that he's had, lowest per yard totals he had on any game rushing. So they bottled him up. And then our quarterback, on the other hand, who's also part of the run game, just like their run game is, he had 6 carries for 6 yards. So they bottled him up as well. So what I'm saying is the defense plays against a similar offense every week. You should be able to spy this guy. Now, if you told me that, Kenyon Drake had 100 yards rushing and Lamar Jackson didn't have as many yards rushing because you balled them up, different story. I get it. But because they both had over 50 yards rushing, you gotta figure it out, because I know that Lamar Jackson is dynamic. And this is why I know people don't want to talk about this, but this is why I go with that Daniel Jones thing. Because, let's talk about him for a minute. He's been very efficient. I'm going to shout out Jeffy T because he was very efficient. And here's where Coach comes in. Okay, here's where Coach comes. So the other day I made a video, Victory Monday, came out with a video describing, how I watch, what I'm explaining to you now, the tale of two teams. They look very similar to me. But you saw the difference between Lamar Jackson, who in a heartbeat brought the Ravens over into Giant territory in a heartbeat. Walls were closing in, bang, gone. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, doesn't have that dynamic ability to do that particular part of the game. So for me, I was saying if you ever wanted to upgrade the quarterback position, that would be something you look at. However, Coach asked me, who would I replace Daniel Jones with? Which is kind of an open-ended question, but I'm going to answer it anyways. Since he wants answers, I'm a guy who gives them. I'll give you answers. First off, there's a guy named Tyler Huntley who plays for the Ravens, who I could bring in, and that's more of a dynamic runner than Jones. I'm not saying replacing Jones or anything like that. I'm just saying if you were to upgrade the offense, a guy like Lamar Jackson is a guy I want, because they want a dual threat quarterback, it looks like, in this offense to really succeed. Another thing is, a lot of people talk about, well, if you trade the quarterback, you're going to be behind 4 years and blah, blah, blah. There comes the word efficiency. Brian Daboll is not a stupid guy. So if he had a young football caller come in here and they wanted to upgrade to a more dynamic runner of the football at the quarterback position, I'm pretty sure he could figure out how to do it. Now, Coach, if you want, I can lay a list on you about some guys that I'm looking at if you're interested. But anyways, I digress there. So what I'm trying to say is that you can upgrade at all. And I'm loving what they're doing. And I saw, like I told you, this is exactly why I told you what the Ravens are doing. The Ravens had a spy, or at least looked like a spy, on Jones, not letting him out of the pocket. And so going forward, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are good at stopping the run, are going to try to employ the same kind of defense going forward. And that's play zone, stick with your man best you can, and stop the run and let Daniel beat you from the pocket. And right now, Daniel's played the most efficient football that he's played. I will say this, though. There are still 22 quarterbacks who are better than him right now in the yardage. He's about to average 28 yards and 14 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. We're not going to get too much into it because I don't want to make this a Daniel Jones podcast. But what I'm saying is, and here's his response. My point was, if you move on from DJ, do you go after a rookie or a veteran? If that wasn't clear, my apologies. I thought you said, who are you going to get? I'm looking at it like, there are free agent guys out there, but I'm looking at the landscape right now, free agents. None of them are what Daniel Jones is doing, and none of them are particularly doing what Daboll seems to be doing. I think he wants to run what the Ravens run, kind of have a dual threat quarterback, have him be part of the run game, be dynamic. So if you want a couple lists, there's a guy from Tennessee who's rising up the draft boards. Herndon does it. Anthony Richardson is a pretty good dual threat quarterback and a guy you could mold, meaning if you wanted to sign Daniel Jones to a short-term deal and bring in a young guy to groom him to get up to speed to what you're doing, you can do that as well. This is what I'm talking about. People want me to just say, kick the kids at the curb. No, I'm telling you how you can upgrade this offense right now going forward. But anyways, talking about the Ravens, Saquon Barkley didn't have the same impact that I thought he would normally have. They really stifled him in this game, Mac.
They did, but at the same, even with that being said, when it mattered the most, is Saquon Barkley turned it on a little bit. Yeah, he didn't have the big 50, big 40-yard breakaway run in this game, but late in this game, he started asserting himself in this later on in his game as his game went on. That's when he piled up most of his yards. Were in that pretty much probably like in that fourth quarter, late third quarter, fourth quarter range time when he started really piling up the yards that he did accumulate. And I think that still has this, you got to say something for that because that's still turning it on when it matters most. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they were bottling them up most of the game, but when it counted down the stretch, Saquon Barkley started getting a couple of those little 7-yard bursts, little 8, 9 yard. I mean, I think 9 yards was his longest run in this game. But at the same time, it's kind of also the quality of the runs and when they came. You know what I mean? And I think his better runs came when the Giants absolutely needed them to. So
I agree to a certain extent.
Even though he got bottled up for the most part, I still believe that it just when he started making some plays down the stretch for the Giants, it was just they weren't big explosive ones, but they were moving the chains. They were absolutely moving the chains, and that's what we needed to get done in those situations, man. So
right, but we did luck out.
We did, but at the same time, sometimes everybody gets a little bit of luck their way, man. Look, this roster is no secret. This is no secret. This roster is not on paper one of the better rosters in the league, not by a long shot.
Which is making it more impressive to be 5-1.
It is, but that's the whole point. Is that we're doing the things we're doing with these guys, the guys that we have. You know what I mean? And the fact of the matter is, you look around the league. It's not the best groups of guys. Like I said, you look in our own division. I feel like we still, on paper, in our own division, have probably the worst looking roster on paper. And so it's just
coaching matters.
It's just really fascinating. The coaching is just, this team is getting coached up really, really well, and you're getting guys like Marcus Johnson, who nobody knew 2 weeks ago, making plays. You know what I mean? It's just amazing what we're seeing here, man. And I appreciate from the Daniel Jones aspect. He's got me confused to the point now because I agree with you from one standpoint. I would like to see more in the statistics and the numbers, a little more explosiveness. I wish he could be a little more dynamic. But the way he seems, as efficient as he is right now with what he's working with, maybe he could be more dynamic with more dynamic help. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it comes down to at this point. Saquon Barkley is it on this offense. That's it.
Right. And
there's nothing else.
But I agree. I think the question that's addressed with Daniel has more to do with, can I get the same production out of a younger or somebody else? And the answer to me is yes, to me. Because I see people on different streams giving me guff. Well, not me guff, but guff about, well, you hate Daniel Jones, but you don't give it to Jalen Hurts. Listen, Jalen Hurts he does what he does. We give it to Jalen Hurts when we need to give it to him. It's not he's like, well, the defense gives up 14 touchdowns and gives the ball back. Okay, but our defense doesn't have any turnovers. So how are you gonna pin one scenario with the other? When you have the ball, are you dynamic? Do you get the job done? That's what we're looking at. And Daniel does. He's efficient for what they're asking him to do. And that's why I'm not trying to criticize him too much. I'm still staying on my side of the line, but I want to give you guys an educated, not robble, hate Daniel Jones type of piece. All I'm saying is what my observations are. And I'm saying that if you put Lamar Jackson on this team, switched out the same thing, I still think the Ravens are probably 3-3, 2-4 with Daniel, and I think the Giants could still be 5-1 with these guys with Lamar Jackson on there and be more dynamic on offense with him as a runner. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Daniel with stars. I'm saying if you were to switch straight up, you probably got guys who can still perform and be efficient because Brian Daboll is not going to put his guys in harm's way. Now I ask you this question. If Brian Daboll saw a talent that he thought was better than Daniel Jones coming out of college and he tries to draft him so that I can make him the next Josh Allen, do you not draft that guy? That's what I'm saying. Daniel, to me, doesn't make me stop from looking at that guy and getting better, depending on what happens. Now, if he wins the Super Bowl, we can then have that discussion about, okay, you want to keep him 5 years? Fine. But if he gets the playoffs, loses, whatever, Teams upgrade. Look at Alex Smith and the Kansas City Chiefs. They drafted Patrick Mahomes, number 12. They moved up to get a guy, right? And by the way, someone tried to say that Patrick Mahomes was, all over the place. No, go read his draft book. His draft profile was all over the place. They had no idea what this guy would be, right? They had no idea. In his air raid system at Texas Tech, okay? But Andy Reid saw something in him. So did Ben McAdoo. Let's not talk about him, though. And he went and got him. All I'm saying is he thought that guy is going to bring an upgrade to my team, even with an established starter, a guy that we kind of can see Daniel being an Alex Smith type mold, and he went and got him, no questions asked, right? Same thing in Tennessee. They got a quarterback in the third round they are ecstatic about, and Malik Willis. They're going to let him sit. This is what I'm talking about. They know Malik Willis is more dynamic than Ryan Tannehill. He doesn't have the acumen and the experience yet, so you don't want to put him in there. But if they wanted to, because it's a rebuilding year, I'm sure they could figure out a way to get him easy throws. Case in point, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is doing stuff with a rookie quarterback right now. And I believe you can do a lot when you have good coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with the comment here about Coach Ed. Like, I mean, you always upgrade if you can upgrade. I mean, legitimately upgrade. There's nothing, and you got to do what's best for your team. But
let me say this. Sorry, I'm dying over here. Daniel Jones got me all choked up. No, but what I'm saying is that people too busy focus on Daniel Jones now, right? And not they're like, well, the rookie is not Daniel Jones. Yeah, of course he's not, because he hasn't played 4 years in the NFL. I mean, that's totally different. But what you have to do is you have to look at where Daniel was and where he is going to the next guy. Say, hey, listen, he's already kind of got what Daniel can do already, right? So now, can he be better than Daniel in 4 years when we get there? Fine. If he can be, then you put him in the offense, and you've got a guy who can already do some of the things that Daniel's doing, and you can groom him the way you want to groom him as you build this team. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, is that you don't necessarily have to sit there and be like, well, because I like efficiency, but I also like production. Okay, because efficiency, you know what that leads to? That leads to Jared Goff. That leads to, the Chris Chandlers of the world, the guys like that who get you there.
Can I just, okay, real quick, because when you bring up like a Jared Goff, overall, most of his career, Jared Goff has played with better weapons than Daniel Jones is playing with. So when you say efficient, the fact that he was only efficient with those kind of weapons as opposed to being dynamic or good, that shows the mediocrity of a quarterback like that. And I'm not saying Daniel Jones isn't. I'm just saying he's. Yeah, but look how good he was. He's making me. Watching his play this year, he's making me think about it again now, because now I'm like, well, this guy can be this efficient, and we're winning football games with the guys he's playing with. Imagine if he had some Cooper Kupps on his team and some Odell Beckhams or like players or guys of that type of nature. You know what I mean?
Odell Beckham. But
I know. I'm just throwing names out there. I know. But what I'm
just saying. Push come to shove, though, what happened to him in the big game? What was his main flaw? His main flaw was he couldn't read the defense. Sean McVay kind of gave him and conveyed to him what was going on, and he didn't deliver in crunch time. Same thing with Ryan Tannehill, same thing with Jared Goff, these type of guys we're talking about. Now, if you want to sign him to a short-term deal, I'm cool with that. I just don't think you should commit heavy dollars to him right now, just because of efficiency alone. I'm not forgetting the previous 3 seasons like everyone seems to forget. Like, I'm not forgetting them. You have to evaluate.
I'm not saying you're forgetting them. I'm saying that watching this level of efficiency that he's showing, it's like, what could this dude do if he actually had a dynamic receiver out there in the offense with him? That's what I'm saying. Now it makes me feel like, damn, this dude could be the shit maybe if he had like a legit threat down the field. I mean, look, Darius Slayton, sure, it's been a pretty good effort the last week or two, but let's face it, he is what he is. He's not a number 1 receiver, and right now he's kind of our number 1 receiver. And it's like, that dude's not number 1. I mean, let's just face it. He's never, like I said, I don't know, maybe it was when you said the name Jared Goff, it makes me think about some of the players he's played with over his course of his career.
Well, I'm just saying, but
he's mediocre with those guys, But
right,
I
exactly.
think
So
Daniel Jones could be way better with those guys. You know what I mean?
I
Like
mean,
I just
but what? Okay, so you upgrade the talent and he's still mediocre. What does that mean?
well then that's a different ball game. That would be
Okay,
a different ball game. But
so
that's the point. We don't now
but
watching
that's what
his.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like he went from the being the bee's knees in his rookie year, throwing the ball all over the yard, right, to right now about to average 14 touchdowns in the season. Now I understand he has limitations and things going on. I get it, but if you can tell me that I can get the same production from a guy that I don't have to pay as much money to, that's a no-brainer if you're going to build a team. Because the thing is this. If he's efficient, fine. Then I'm signing him for 1 year, maybe 2, and I'm going to bring in all the pieces that you guys say, and I'm going to still draft my quarterback anyways if I get a chance to, because if he's not, I'm kicking him to the curb because then I have another guy doing it.
That's definitely also a very good option. I'm just saying at this point now, maybe it's like he's showing you that, well, damn, because even his rookie season, we keep going. He had a different style coach, obviously, more offensive minded coach anyway. But at the same time,
offensive.
Well, I'm talking about but I'm ready to complete the point. My point is he also had a better receiving core his rookie season. Whether we like it, I mean, it was the facts. I mean, Golden Tate is better than anybody that's playing wide receiver for New York Giants right now. It's not. I'm not saying Golden Tate.
He had basically 3 guys. He had Golden Tate. He had a banged up Saquon Barkley. He had Evan Ingram. Okay, and that's about it. And Darius Slayton too, right? 4 guys right now.
That's better. That's better than what the Giants receiving core looks like right now.
On paper, we have a better receiving core. We have a better receiving core on paper. We do. The fact that Tony can't get on the field is not my problem, right? The fact
but that's the point. They're not on the field. So to me, I'm not even counting them if they're not on the field. I'm just saying the guys that are on the field, not just the guys on the roster, the guys that are on the field, the Richie James, the David Sills, the Marcus Johnson. Like I said, these are guys that nobody knew before the damn season started.
But I'm just
nobody
saying,
else other than the New York Giants knew them.
What I'm saying though is this, right? If you put it, like I told you, if I took out number 8 from the Ravens, put him in blue for the Giants, I'm probably getting the same production that he's getting right now, because Daniel Bellinger, while he's getting open, these guys, he's more dynamic. I can see the Giants still being 5-1 with Lamar Jackson, right? I can still see that. Yeah. I could still see the Giants being, 5-1 with some of these with Jalen Hurst on the field. I think they could still be 5. There's a lot more factors into it than this. What I'm saying is this. While I agree with you that he doesn't have all this stuff, I don't look at it like, well, that's what's on the field. That's not my problem. What's on the field? You got to play with what the guys are on the field, just like the schedule.
That's what he's doing. But he's efficient. That's what he's doing. He's playing with those guys.
But so he's
that's
doing
what he is.
Well, I'm just saying. So he's listen. We look. All I'm saying is this.
I'm never going to turn you back over. I know. I got you, man. I know.
Listen. I'm not back over. I'm actually agreeing that he's going to get a contract. I'm not agreeing he's going to get $100 million or a 5-year deal. If you want to bring him back because you want to hedge your bets and say, hey, listen, we're on a playoff run, which actually let's dive into this right now. Since we think we're going to the playoffs, right, or having delusions of it now, and it's good to dream. It's good to dream, right? My question: we're
in a good position right now, brother.
My question is, do we make a move for a big time receiver? Because my answer is no. And the reason I say that is because if you really are in a rebuild mode, which people forget that we are, you want to keep going in the rebuild. I don't want to give up too many draft assets and capitals for a team that even if we do get to the playoffs, what are we going to do? We still have 22 guys that we still need to sign on this team. It's not if they had a lot of guys here, for a long time that were already established, I'd be like, you know what? Go after DJ Moore, go after Jerry Jeudy. But right now, I'm saying kind of just hold your water, see what you got, and kind of keep going and save these draft picks. A lot of guys, like I said, Zimenez, who whether you like him or not, is going to be a free agent. Julian Love, going to be a free agent. A lot of these other 1-year guys that we have, Jihad Ward, John Feliciano. I mean, I probably not bringing Feliciano back because he's terrible. But, a lot of these guys are free agents. So my question is, do you make the move now or do you continue the build?
No, I agree. I wouldn't. I'm happy with this team, this gutsy team playing out this season with the guys they got, man. I'm not necessarily looking for any kind of splash move right now because, like you said, this is a rebuild year, and the fact that we're getting these victories and this kind of production on a rebuild year. Well, like I said, we're rebuilding. The house ain't built yet, man. You know what I mean? We're still on the foundation at this point, and we're just winning football games. So at this point, I'd rather just keep these guys the way things are going. Like I said, these guys have bought in. I'm comfortable right now with this roster the way it's made up. It seems I'm not comfortable, but you know what I mean when I say like
right. You're rolling with these guys, right?
Yeah, as far as this season is going, like I know obviously we need upgrades on a lot of areas, but right now these guys are getting it done, man, and
because they're buying in.
To me, it's a testament to that. That's why I said to me, that's why I'm so confused with this Daniel Jones thing, man, because. Like I said, from one standpoint, I get what you're saying, but from the other standpoint, I'm just watching what this kid is doing with the people he's doing.
I guess,
like I said,
I guess I'm looking at it like this, right? If you pay Daniel Jones $21 million a year, like Miz is suggesting, right, for a 3-year deal, and let's say with incentives, so that's $21 million, which by the way is less than his 5th-year option. So let's start the bidding at $23 million because that's where he is, right? And let's say you have incentives to go up to a higher threshold. Do you want to commit that much money to him going to a guy that you're not, going to be able to? Because to me, if it's a 3-year deal, it's got to be a 3-year deal that's a 1-year deal after every deal. God forbid the guy gets injured. You know what I'm saying? God forbid he has a slump. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be team games next year of Daniel Jones tape. And we're going to be playing a harder schedule if we win, right? And yes, we're going to have new players on the team. And sure, we probably have a nice new shiny wide receiver coming in. There's going to be a lot different things to do on this team. And I just, if he struggles, you're going to be shit out of luck if he struggles in 2 years, because then you have to either trade for a quarterback or give up more assets. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying bring in somebody now. And if he's great, good. You have your quarterback. You can trade off your backup. If he's not great, you have a guy waiting in the wings to see what he's got. That's all I'm saying. If that's how you want to make it happen, right? But for me, I think I want more than just efficiency. I like efficiency. Efficiency works, right? Ryan Tannehill is efficient, right? Ryan Tannehill's efficient.
Yeah, but Ryan Tannehill, and I just believe that right now with this the way like the makeup of this roster, efficient is about almost as good as you can get. I mean, I don't know how much more you can expect when you don't have other guys out there that's truly all that capable of consistently making plays themselves. I mean, like I said, I'm not knocking these other great guys, man, but they get help. They get help that doesn't have. They just do. Like Tua's having a great bounce back season. Tua down in Miami. That team has fallen for a cliff a little bit since he's been injured, since he's gotten hurt with the concussion stuff. But before that, Tua, man, down there, look what great receivers can do for a quarterback. I mean, that guy, they're making plays all over the field for that guy when he's out there, man. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I mean, it's a difference. It's a significant difference in Tua this season with these guys in place than Tua of last year, for instance. You know what I mean? It's just a difference, and it's a noticeable difference. Playmakers, it matters, man. And I think the efficiency can become more dynamic when he has a few guys that can help him look dynamic. It help him look a little more dynamic. I mean, he doesn't have, like you said, like that natural like Lamar Jackson run ability, but he can run. And if you got some guys on the outside that people got to fear and be threatened of, that can only open it up more for Daniel Jones' running ability. Things like that. I mean, guys the way you can defend the Giants is a little different because they don't have the outside threats. They don't have
right now
that instill fear into your heart.
And that's why I say. And that's why I say they're very similar to the Ravens, because on the outside, they have much right now, right? In the middle, they have Mark Andrews, a tight end, which every tight end seems to kill the Giants. It's just been a history of them. And this guy could have had 2 touchdowns on Sunday. My God, he dropped a couple passes in the end zone as well. So listen, we can agree to disagree. I agree that he needs more weapons. I just don't. I've seen guys of his ilk have weapons and still be mediocre or still get kicked to the curb, right? So it's.
But that's what I'm saying. But those guys, what you just said, guys of his ilk that have weapons are mediocre. That's me. That's them being mediocre then, because they have legitimate threats to get the ball to. Daniel Jones, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen legitimate threats.
But I don't think much. I'll be honest with you. I don't think much is changing if you get a dynamic player. I think maybe if his stats go up, fine, a little bit. But I think you're changing much in the offense. Let's be honest. I've seen teams.
All right, that's fair enough. I get you. You're saying basically. So I get you, because now you're okay. I get it. That's fair enough. You just feel like you don't believe that that's going to make much of a difference in that.
Right, exactly. Okay, because that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, I understand that he's got bona fide weapon issues. I get it, but to me, I put a guy in like fucking Lamar Jackson, and those guys become better automatically out the gate just because of who he is and the dynamic he brings. Right, so I've already elevated their play with one guy changing. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
and
definitely respect it.
And so and talking about the receiving thing that you want to bring in. Listen, look, we want to bring in a receiver we have no idea if they're all going to be dynamic. Some they're hit or miss. That's why. Why do you think people are doing what they're doing in the NFL? They got rid of Tyreek Hill because they knew they could draft a guy in the draft. They're coming out of dime a dozen. Look at George Pickens. Why do you think Claypool is on the market? Because these guys are out there. And so for me, I'm not going to go trade for a big guy. Get one next year. Just roll with what you got. And next year, let's say you acquire maybe a 3rd or 4th round pick for Kadarius Toney. Let's say you get a couple of comp picks, because now people don't realize you can trade comp picks. You have more ammunition to do whatever you want in the draft because you didn't trade away assets. You didn't trade away assets right now. Now, I know Leonard Williams we traded asset for, but if you want to trade 2024 assets and get this guy, okay, I'm all for that. I'm all for 2024 because at that point, maybe in 2023, we can acquire more things and get more draft capital. But next year's draft class, remember, we only brought in like 11 guys and some undrafted free agents. I'm telling you, if we go down the roster right now, and we can go click on the roster right now, because I want to bring up this for the extras that I'm talking about. Right? What happens with the salary cap, if people don't know, is your top 53 guys count against your salary cap. And that means all the highest salaries, right? So right now the Giants have at least 22 guys that are coming off the roster. I say 25 because there's a couple guys who are on the roster, but like Sterling, Kenny Galladay's, those people who we think probably aren't going to be here next year. So if you count the quarterback, Saquon, Daniel, and like Matt Breida, right? The running back, you're already losing a running back, 2 running backs, right? You're already losing 2 running backs. Not that you will, but you're losing a fullback. Let's see. Receiver, Galladay is probably not here, so that's 4. Tony's probably not here. That's 5. David Sill's gone. Richie James gone. Darius Slayton gone, right? They're all contracts all end this year, plus Marcus Johnson. Then you have the tight end, Tanner Hudson. That's gone. What do we have, 10 people right now? I haven't even made it to the defense yet, right? Devery Ham on offense. Your offensive line's pretty much got a few guys that are going to be here, but John Feliciano's gone. A couple backup players are gone, and Devery Hamilton. So you still have some young guys in there. And again, guys could be cut. We have no idea what will happen with them. Your whole defensive line, you have Ellis gone and Nick Williams gone. That leaves you with 2 guys, Leonard Williams. So there's going to be people you have to sign. I can keep going down the list. Jahad Ward, Zimenez, Austin Calitro, Jalen Smith.
Look, it's the NFL, so we know obviously some of those guys definitely won't.
But what I'm saying is,
a guy like Zimenez, like for instance, a guy like Zimenez is the type of guy that's playing his tail off. He's having a career year, it looks like right now, on his pace to have a career season statistically. He just looks good. Looks like a competent NFL pass rusher right now for the first time in his career. And a guy like him, it's by it being a contract year. Not like a guy like him's probably not likely to get a contract with the Giants. It'll be somebody else that might think, oh, we got a new great pass rusher and overpay him in free agency like they do, like you see in free agency every year. So.
But that's my point. You made my point. What I'm saying is now you have to sign either somebody else or you sign him back. And what I mean by that is like you may not get the same quality of guy coming in because you're going to be spending a lot more money. If you spend money on Barkley and you spend money on Jones and you spend money on a now big receiver, you're eating up all your cap space that you had that you were to do to build other things. There's going to be so many other holes that need to be filled that you don't want to waste all your cap space on a few players. That's why I'm saying economically, sometimes you just want to let the rebuild happen and get the guys in so that you have these guys on long-term contracts is what I'm saying. Because if you look at it financially, 20 guys leaving, that's that's almost half your team leaving next year that you're going to have to replace if you don't sign them, right? Barring, the Joneses and the Barkleys of the world. I'm just throwing that out there. As far as the comment for the receivers, listen, we can get one in the draft. Don't waste assets right now. Don't waste assets. If the team was built, and they had their offensive line, all the young guys there, Daniel's already been signed, and you needed one piece to kind of get over the top like the Rams did. The Rams they brought in a lot of players, but the two guys that put them over the top was Matthew Stafford and Odell Beckham Jr. Once they brought in Odell Beckham Jr., that team won the Super Bowl, and away they went. Right. And look where they are now. Now their team's falling apart because they can't sign anybody, have no money, and have no depth.
They haven't had draft picks.
That's what I'm saying. Good. See what I mean? That's what I'm talking
about. They went all in for a title. They got their title, man, and that's what they did that for. Basically, they got the championship that they were seeking. But they traded away a lot.
But we're not doing that
to get it. Or not, I would not say. I don't want us to do that necessarily, especially if we don't have to take that kind of an approach. I mean,
like what if we get there without there, right? What if we get there without that?
Well, right now we're in a good position to compete right now for opportunity. That's what it's all about right now, man.
Anyways, we talked enough about the Giants and Daniel. Let's move to this third game.
Yeah, it's time to definitely move on here to the Sunday night football game. The Dallas Cowboys took a trip up to Philly, visited them Eagles, and it started off rough for the Cowboys here. Got off to a very, very slow start, and looked like the Eagles was going to blow the doors off of them, man. But the Cowboys definitely got back into this one and threatened all the way to the end, man. Had a shot late in this game to tie this game back up, maybe possibly push for overtime. They just couldn't get the job done. Cooper Rush came all the way back down to earth. Looked like the backup quarterback that he is. Finally, a defense forced this man to make several mistakes, and the Cowboys had to pay for it, man. Cooper, and now is quarterback controversy in Dallas? Nah, ain't no quarterback controversy in Dallas. Dak Prescott is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
There it is, period. And, this was I hate to say this, I was kind of excited for this game. I don't know why. I think we're old school, listening Sunday Night Football. This is kind of the game that when I grew up watching, Cowboys and Eagles on prime time, nothing but a slugfest, you know what I mean? And that's what it turned out to be in the end, right at first. Oh, man. Eagles going to blow the doors off. But that Dallas defense, we got to give hats off to them. Micah Parsons is an absolute stud, okay? And
absolutely.
He makes the entire defense go. Like we say that Barkley is our entire offense. You get rid of Barkley and you basically beat the Giants. You get rid of Micah Parsons, it don't matter because his presence is so big, so much that if you put 2 or 3 guys on him, you're freeing up somebody else. DeMarcus Lawrence, Dante Fowler, Anthony Barr. I mean, Anthony Barr, people don't want to talk about that, but he was a solid addition late for this Dallas defense. He really has brought a physical presence to them, a downhill presence, a guy that helps win. And, I think they need to focus on this. And I like the build-up towards this game. It had an old-school feel. Like DeMarcus Lawrence is like, they need to worry about us. The Eagles are chirping back, blah, 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 blah. Old-school NFC East feel. Like when we were growing up, at least for me, Mac, the Cowboys, Eagles, and the Redskins, they used to talk a lot. You know, they used to have a lot of personalities on there. And it made for an exciting game because you ended up wanting to hate because all you heard was Michael Irvin run his mouth all week, or Deion Sanders dancing in the end zone the previous week, and you just wanted to, you know, take their heart out. Now you got the Eagles who are talking crap, and they got their offense, and you got the Cowboys talking crap. It was a lot of fun. Now you're right about one thing: Cooper Rush finally came down to earth. Jerry, you can stop talking about a quarterback controversy because you ain't got one. You know, no, I will say though. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Cooper Rush entered this game, I believe, with no interceptions, and he had 2 in the first quarter. If I'm not mistaken, he had the first 2 interceptions in the first quarter, and then he added another one later on in the game. So he definitely had a rough day at the office. But let's talk about the reason why he had a rough day at the office. Because the Eagles wasn't playing no games with him. They was getting to him early, often, and they made that man gun-shy immediately from the door. He was shell-shocked and didn't know what the hell hit him. I mean, and then so that's what they got. That's what you do to a backup quarterback. That was the mistake the Giants made when we played Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush was too damn clean when they came on to MetLife on Monday Night Football. He had a clean pocket most of the night. You didn't even hardly lay a finger on him. This Eagle team got to him, and that rattled his ass up, and they got into his head early. And his wife being there didn't help. and it sped up the clock in his head. He was just throwing all kinds of errant passes. It was a mess. You know, he was a mess. He looked exactly like what you expect from a typical backup quarterback. You know what I mean? And the Eagles were the team to make him look like that. So I got to give the Eagles some form of props for that too. And just real quick, Lane Johnson owned Michael Parsons. I don't know about all that, but the game definitely. But Cowboys defense changed when Lane Johnson went out a little bit. They got a little. They started getting that pressure a little bit more, a lot more.
Right, so, and they also put Michael Parsons everywhere. So yes, he might be getting beat by Lane Johnson, but he wrecked the game. Okay, see that he has that effect on the game, then you're not watching. Okay, because a lot of people don't want to give credit where credit is due because they don't like a certain rivalry or they don't like a certain player or they don't like a certain team. No, open the eyes and know that that's what he's doing. Now, Cooper Rush, you know, I think the Eagles also did a good job at stopping the run, okay? And I think that's what really helps the Eagles in this game because, you know, they didn't have a chance for Cooper Rush. I mean, you know, you're right. 38 times. You can't throw the football with Cooper Rush 38 times. And I think that the game plan for the Cowboys was, you know, well, they were behind, so they had to do some throwing. But look at this average for Ezekiel Elliott, 6.2 yards, and Tony Pollard had 4 yards carry. That, to me, tells you probably should have kept running the football. You know, you probably should have tried to keep pounding the rock a little bit more and giving those carries to him and trying that because – you know, your quarterback wasn't going to help you. And I think, you know, the opportunities that went down, I mean, 18 of 38 is terrible. I mean, that's a lot of passes, 38 passes for a guy who's a backup. Come on. Not a good game plan. And I get it. They were down. But still, the run game was
they went down early. They did go down quick, but at the same time, it was still so early in the game, right? Like you said, avoiding the run game like they did. It was just wasn't a good look because, like you said, Zeke actually did have it going. He had it going a little bit against his Eagle defense, and he definitely was finding the creases and taking full advantage of his opportunities. He just didn't get enough opportunities.
Well, look at like you just said. Let me mention that point you brought up. The first half, they don't score anything. Both teams in the first quarter. Second quarter, the Eagles have a 20 lead. Okay. The Cowboys then score 7 and 7 again, right? And then of course the Eagles score their 6 points. So my point is if the Cowboys had just kept going and kind of just kept plugging away and scoring and maybe they get another score, the game could be different. But they were down in the first half that they just kind of had to keep chucking the rock, and that rock led to 3 interceptions, you know, and obviously a loss to the Cowboys because they didn't have enough. They didn't have enough stamina in the fourth quarter to stop them from getting those 6 points. Other than that, they really, the Cowboys defense held their own.
I feel like that last drive, they were driving again a little bit, and Cooper Rush threw that last interception. It was in the fourth quarter that corner or safety, whoever the safety the Eagles had that got hurt, came back in the game and got that interception.
Oh yeah, Kylie Roby. Not Roby, the dude from the Saints they got.
Yeah, the one with the two last name, Gardner Johnson or whatever his name is. He came back in and got that late interception to end to put the Cowboys out of their misery, pretty much.
But man, it's going to be a fun game at the end. It's going to be a fun game when they meet. And who knows what the records will be? The three teams are still in the race. We're sole possession of second place. Eagles you got to respect what they're doing. They really are the best team in football. I know people don't want to talk about Jalen Hurts and they're like, well, why is he an MVP? It's like, well, listen, he's doing things on a 6-0 team. He's the MVP considered right now because he's the best team. If he loses a game and another team wins, Josh Allen may be the MVP next week. Who knows? But right now, he's the best team. That's why a lot of people are hanging their hats on that MVP thing.
I think the reason why some people were questioning the Eagles as being the best team in the league and still giving a nod to the Buffalo Bills or something like that, so to speak, is because the way Buffalo wins seems to be a little more dominating, I guess, a little more overbearing. Like the Eagles, they're winning the football games out of 6-0, and you take nothing away from them. But they're not like they're necessarily blowing the doors off of people. They're like you said in this game here. They just hung on and got the W. They went up early, and then they did enough early to hang on and cruise to a victory in this one on Sunday night. But they've had some pretty tight matchups. That's why I think that this Eagle team, that's why I lost my train of thought. But that's what I respect about this Eagle football team, because almost like us, except with just obviously a better team in general and shit, they're getting the job done too, finding ways to win whatever it takes. If they got to use Jalen Hurts' arm, they're using Jalen Hurts' arm. If they got to depend on Jalen Hurts' legs, they're going to depend on Jalen Hurts' legs. So the Eagles, they're doing it the smart way. They're also very well coached. Nick Sirianni, man. Look, if it wasn't for a guy named Brian Dable, man, he'd be my coach of the year right now. I'm gonna keep it real. You know what I mean? I just like what he's been doing.
Didn't he win coach of the year last year?
No, I don't think so. I don't believe he did, but yeah, I just like what he's doing with this Eagle team, man. I do. I like what he's doing with his carried over from last year. Last year, they were a team that nobody expected much from, but he really turned it on, man. He's really stepped up as becoming like a top coach in this league already, man. Just in year number 2, so gotta give props to him, even though it sounds blasphemous because they're the Eagles. But,
Oh, man. It's funny. Last week, my friend who's an Eagle fan was like, 2 giant content creators praising the Eagles. And so that's kind of funny. But I will give it to Nick Sirianni. He's done what Brian Dable's done, right? In a team, an offensive coach, and he's made a guy and molded him into what he needs him to be, right? Like Jalen Hurts didn't throw for a lot of yards in this game either. You know what I'm saying? He threw 155 yards. And what that does is that allows you to do the things that you need to do. You don't always have to rely on certain guys, and they're winning in different ways. It's not just winning dominantly in one fashion. They're a well-coached football team who gets turnovers, has opportunities, puts pressure on quarterbacks for them to do it, and they're buying into the system. And yes, right now they're 6-0. They're the only undefeated team in the NFL. And this is probably the shortest I've seen teams be this, undefeated. You know what I mean? 6-0. Usually we have 2 or 3 teams that are 6-0 at this time in the NFL. Not just one, but that's been a weird year this year. It's been an absolutely weird year. These big teams that we thought going in, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, are struggling right now, and who knows where they're going to be at the end of it. Team like Minnesota, they're doing well. I know we're talking about the NFC East, and then you have the NFC East where a lot of us picked, us included, the Giants may not be the worst team in the NFC East, but they definitely weren't going to be 5-1. At least that's what we thought. So it's very good to see, very interesting to see. And from the turnaround last year, we thought Eagles were going to be dead last year, dead last year. And the fact that they not only won, but are now off of that success, it really is good to see.
But I'm sorry, Adam, to do this. I gotta do it one more time. I'm sorry. I know. I just happened to look at Jalen Hurts stat line from the other night, and I'm gonna lay it on you, man. 15 to 25, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, and nine carries for 27 yards. I mean,
efficiency.
That's
they can upgrade too. That's what I'm saying. It's not like, but that's what the quarterback play is around. So I'm not impressed with what Jalen Hurts did last week. They won the football game, and yeah, I'm not impressed with him either. I would say the same thing if I were an Eagle fan. And I'm sure there's a lot of Eagle fans saying the same thing. What I'm talking about is what you can do. This is what Jalen Hurts is. Jalen Hurts also is not a 6th overall pick in the NFL draft. So
okay, if you want, that's fair. That's fair too. That's fair. He's not
right. So you want to say, oh well, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, well, Jalen Hurts is a 2nd round pick. I expect efficiency from that guy. I expect that. Right. What I expect out of a 6th overall pick is chicken shit making chicken soup. That's what I'm thinking. Because someone said
the actual point I was making, I'm sorry, was just that to say that sometimes efficient is all you need. You need that, so you don't need a guy out there flinging the ball around making crazy mistakes either. So sometimes it's just like, that's just what you need to get it done, man. And if that's
I got an efficient car, but I can get a better car that's more efficient for the same price. It's a cheaper deal. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. You keep spinning my wheels, bro. And listen, G Nation, I'm not getting on it because you kicked me off the damn bus the other day when I made a video. So say you don't want me on the 11-6 bus, so I won't admit it. I'm actually going to raise you and say 12-5. How about that? Okay, 12-5 in this thing goes. There. Now you get on that bus, you get on my bullshit, and then you can take it wherever you want. You don't want to put me on the 11-6 bus. Don't get on the bus now. Don't want you. Fine. I'm taking the 12-5 bus. See ya.
Well, Adam, I did jump on that 11-6 bus because we're sitting at 5-1. And I looked at our schedule.
I tried to say it to him, but he said on my video, "You're not allowed on the bus." So I said, "Fine."
I mean, it just looked like a reality, I mean, it's like a reality now. It looks. I mean, look at it. Okay, it's okay. We're still here. Look at the Giants, the upcoming games.
We better be 9-1.
You're talking about we better be at least 8-2 come Thanksgiving. At least 8-2 come Thanksgiving. I mean, we better be. And that's just saying if we have a hiccup and lose to one of these next 4 opponents, at Jacksonville, at Houston, at Seattle. Then we got the bye week.
Seattle's the game I think we probably lose. That's the one.
Yeah, I would think out of the
West Coast. Even though they're not that great or whatever, I still think that's the possibility of that game losing. That's all. Nothing crazy. Nothing.
What's going on, Taj? Daniel Tilson, thanks for coming back, man. Welcome back to the channel, man. I appreciate you, brother. And and so I'm saying, you got then at Jacksonville, at Seattle, bye week, then hosting Houston, hosting the Detroit Lions. I mean, it almost was like at first you wouldn't have thought too much of it, and now with the Giants sitting at 5-1 and looking like they're pretty much better than all 4 of these football teams. I don't know, man. Like I said, I'd be upset if we get Thanksgiving to face those Cowboys, go down to Jerry's World on Thanksgiving, anything less than 8-2. I'd be pretty disappointed right now. And I can speak candidly when I say that because they've raised the bar. They have raised the bar of my expectations now with their play on the field and what they're doing. So I'd be upset.
Obviously, I obviously got to be upset, but unless Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley go out, right? The only 2 real offensive threats we have, that we should win those games. If Daniel Jones, unforeseen event happens or someone lands on his leg in Jacksonville, and we lose, then I still think we can win with Tyrod Taylor, but if one of those guys go down, then who knows? I don't know, but to me, you have to have a big season. You have to beat the Eagles. You have to beat the Cowboys to even have a shot at the division. But I'm not even worried about the division. Get us to the dance. Get us in the dance. At that point, you can punch your own ticket to wherever you want to go. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. See
Like
what
Bill
happens.
Parcells said, you got to get in the tournament first, baby. You got to get
Yeah,
there first. And once
exactly.
you
But
get
that's why
there,
I like.
everybody got a chance.
Right. Like that's and this year and these upcoming playoffs, you only have one bona fide team to get a bye week, right? So let's just play devil's advocate here and say it's the Eagles. They go 13-3, and the Giants and the Cowboys both end up 12-5, and the Cowboys 11-6. Oh, but so they have that, right? Let's say they get the bye week. Now you have more of a chance to win the game because you're now all playing together. Upsets will happen. 1-7. There's going to be some big teams in those wild card games that are going to have at least probably 10 wins. Probably. There'll probably be a team that sneaks in with 9 in the NFC because the NFC is kind of like, kind of not as good as the AFC, but there's going to be some big teams in there coming to wild card weekend, and you have a chance. You have a chance. You have more of a chance now than you did years ago.
The beauty of the playoffs. The beauty of the playoffs is once you get there, anything can happen. You take the Major League Baseball playoffs, for example. Look at that National League right now. You got 6 playoff teams from each league, man. And right now, playing in the National League Championship Series, you got the number 5 seed San Diego Padres playing against the number 6 seed Philadelphia Phillies. So that's a prime example of what can happen once you get into them playoffs, man. Anything can happen. All bets
it's going to be New York and Philly. New York versus Philly.
All bets are off once you get into them playoffs, man. So it just you got to get there first, and then we can handle some business when we get there, man. And the way this team is set up and designed with the run game, man, like we're kind of like one of those teams that could you're not going to want to see us in the playoffs, man. If we get there, we're not going to be that team that you want to play against and deal with, just because. Come January, man, usually that good strong run game and a good solid defense are the
I don't want to play the Vikings.
Success.
I think the Vikings have
for success.
Vikings have our team with better skill sets, at receivers and probably even running back. I think Dalvin Cook is underrated because he plays in Minnesota, but talent-wise, I think Barkley is better. But that leads us into looking into next week's game. Look into next week's games because we have 3 teams playing next week. Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are on vacation.
Eagles are have a bye week, and so they will still be undefeated going into week 8.
That's the only good thing about a bye week. You can't win or lose, right? If you're a losing team, you can't lose, and if you're a winning team, you can't win. But the Commanders start with the Packers on Sunday. I think that's not even going to be a contest. I think the Packers finally get their 4th win. The Commanders will be rolling out with Tyler Heineke. Like, if you can't beat him, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Hold on. Lou, I'll bring you on in a minute, man, all right? In a little bit. Let's get you on, and you can give your thoughts after we finish previewing the games real quick, all right?
Oh.
But
we don't normally have guests, so we're bringing on a guest. And, of course, we're bringing on Lou, so I'm going to have to hear 11-6 and all that jazz. But, Tyler Heineke, if the Packers lose this game, I don't hear anything about the Packers right now. 3 minutes? You just need 3 minutes. More like you're going to take up the whole another half hour, man. I ain't going to be arguing with that place. No, but the Packers need this game. Washington should probably start the young kid, to see what he can do. Obviously, we talked about this at the beginning. Ron Rivera is a coach who thinks he could still win. I don't know. Maybe if the Packers lose this game and the Commanders somehow, you'll probably see Taylor Heineke going forward. If they lose, I would fold up shop and say, listen, let's see what we got. Plus, Dan Snyder there's so much going on with this organization. I don't really think they're going to, I don't think they have a snowball chance in hell of winning this game.
Yeah, but I agree. I think they're catching. I think they're going to catch an angry Green Bay Packers team and going in there with your backup quarterback who does have legitimate starting experience as he played for him most of last year, obviously. But
he gives them a chance.
Yeah, but this Green Bay Packer team, I think, is going. Aaron Rodgers, I just can't see him losing 3 games in a row. I just can't envision Aaron Rodgers losing 3 games in a row.
Well, I would love to see it just to see what the meltdown would be like, but I don't want to see the Commanders winning anymore because they're a horrible football team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I just don't. I don't see much. I think Green Bay goes and blows the doors off of Washington. Honestly, I think they're going to go and embarrass Washington on their in Washington and just. I can see this one being maybe one of the most lopsided games of the week. Honestly,
interesting game. Yes, I do too. Interesting game coming up. We'll move on from Washington because I don't really care about them anymore. But interesting game on Sunday for the Cowboys. They play the Lions, and the Cowboys play a couple games in this next few. They play the Lions, they play the Bears, they meet the Packers, and they play the Vikings, and then they play the Giants. So they've got to win the next couple games, the Cowboys. So what are they, 4-2 now? They need to be 6-2 by the time they hit the Packers game. Because I think the Packers and Vikings and Giants, those 3 games in a row, will be very tough for them. This is. I think they're going to beat Detroit. I do. It's in Dallas. I think Detroit's going to score points. That's what seems to be Detroit's MO. They can't play defense worth a damn, but they definitely can score points. They do score points. So we'll see what happens there. I think the Cowboys. I don't know about you, but I think the Cowboys are going to bounce back in this game. I think the defense is going to be a little too much for the Lions. I don't think they're going to be angry coming out after what happened. I don't know what the status is with Dak Prescott in what's happening.
Nah, it looks like he's going to be. He's got the green light.
So let me ask you this, Nick. Performance on Sunday. Do you think they're going to, no matter what, no doubt about it, start Dak and say, let's go? Or do you think they'll, because these are 2 lesser teams, right? And the Lions and the Bears. So you don't think there's any chance they're going to keep Cooper Rush in one more week?
Nah. From everything I'm hearing, it looks like Dak got the green light for the start this week.
All right. And let's see what he can do.
They're gonna welcome him back. They say he looked pretty good in warm-ups last week. So I'm gonna bring Lou in right quick. But so we gonna
what's up, fellas?
So it's looking like what's going on, Lou?
How are you?
What's going on? Hey, I wasn't on some real shit, Adam. While y'all was talking, you brought up a point about if we get into the dance, right?
Yes.
And it made me think we got some injuries early on in the preseason and early in the season, right? A lot of these teams are still healthy. As we get further along the season, they'll be getting their injuries and we'll be recuperating from ours. So hopefully, if we do go 11-6 or 12-5 or whatever and make it to the playoffs, right? Some of these teams might be a little dilapidated by that point, and we'll be getting back to full strength at around that time. So that's also something to think about that might give us an advantage if we get into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, we have an advantage because we have a good defense. So when you have a good defense, you're always going to have a chance. And then, if your offense is playing the way it is, efficient and smart, and not turning the ball over, you have a chance. The thing that will, I agree with you. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 11 weeks. For all we know, Adam Thielen could pull a hamstring and be out for how long, and that hurts the Minnesota Vikings going forward, or the Cowboys.
As a matter of fact, Adam, since we was just talking about it, Adam, Dak Prescott is not even on the injury report now. He's no longer on the injury report.
Good game to come back for then, right? the Detroit Lions. So, hey, listen, I'm excited. We'll see what happens. When you get to the dance, anything can happen. That's what they say. You just got to punch your ticket. I don't care about winning the division. I think the division is for suckers. Just get me in the fucking playoffs. I don't want to deal shirt. Just get me a fucking championship. Because the Giants, they won the division in 2011 and won the Super Bowl. Great. In 2016, 2007, they were a wild card team. I didn't give a damn that the Cowboys were 13-3.
Seed at that. We were the 6th seed at that.
And we marched through everybody. We marched through Tampa Bay, got laughed at. I'm like, they had Jeff Garcia. Yeah, great. He's a bum. You had Tony Romo smiling buying tickets to Cowboys. Good job. And you had Brett Favre.
Man. That's my
yeah. He can go cry me a river now and go play at the 3-3 game in indoor TO, you fucking jerk. Then you have, Brett Favre.
I'll tell you what, I would take TO over Kenny Golladay right now.
You know what? He would perform every week. He would perform every week. TO is like that. See, the thing about it like this is like Kenny. I don't want to get into Kenny Galladay because I think he got the raw deal coming out. I don't think this coaching staff liked him. I don't think I like Tony, to be exact. I think I was telling this to Miz. I said I think they were trying to trade Tony, but that stupid reporter, Pat Leonard, leaked the trade rumor. And at that point, when Tony shows up, now you got to play Kumbaya and sing some rainbows. But I think they were trying to trade him at that point. But then when he comes in and gets the playbook, you're like, oh, you can't really do that right now. So I think they had it out for these guys. Obviously, they can work up the depth chart. And we knew Kenny Galladay was going to be bad in the first preseason game against the Patriots, where he didn't even finish that pass that Daniel Jones threw to him. He made that lazy-ass route. That's when we knew Kenny was probably going to be a problem, and he hasn't done anything since. What the funniest part is that Wan'Dale Robinson, who barely even played in the NFL, this was a sixth game, and he barely even played, has more touchdowns than Kadarius Toney.
This is his second game.
Second game played, but sixth game.
He got hurt after running 3 steps the first time he stepped on the field, and that was his first game back.
Right, and he scores a touchdown, and we can't even get Kadarius Toney to fix a hamstring.
Gets a touchdown and only played 23% of the snaps and got 37 yards on 3 catches and a touchdown.
It's a very efficient player. So he, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is why I say if you don't want guys here, get rid of him now. Like, I don't think you should keep Kenny Galladay on the roster. Just IR him or
I'd rather. Yep. And everybody's like, "Oh, you're gonna take a cap hit? Fuck the cap."
Who cares? You're gonna take cap hit next year anyway.
You know what kind of message that sends in the locker room? I don't give a fuck if you're a $72 million superstar player or whatever you think you are. If you're not putting the team first, you're out of here. That sends that message in that locker room, and them guys get their shit together.
That's what I mean. I think Parcells would have done that. He would have let go a long time ago. He would have kicked both Tony and Galladay to the curb and said, "Deuces."
Oh, Lil Hammy? I don't even want to hear about Lil Hammy, the rapper formerly known as wide receiver, a.k.a. Lil Hammy. Yeah.
Well, listen. That guy can go start rapping because that's all he's going to be doing these days, rapping gifts at Bloomingdale's.
He ain't going to make no money doing that neither. He trash.
Well, no, he can rap. He can go rap gifts over in Walmart at their gift wrapping station.
Rapping he could do. Yeah, KB Toys or some shit like that.
Gift wraps. Go to Macy's or something. You know what I mean? He can be wrapping gifts for you. But I like the direction of this team. I love Daboll. I'm really like him a lot and what he's doing. I love Joe Shane. I think he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. I keep telling people that. I think don't believe everything that you hear from him. Whether they like a player or not. If they don't like a player, go ahead.
He comes from a Fortune 500 background. His father's like fucking billionaire. You know what I'm saying? So he comes from the most cutthroat of cutthroat businesses.
But he also earned his stripes. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't just get handed was given to him. But I mean, he got where he got because he watched his dad be shrewd in business and be cutthroat. And then he applied that shit to what he loves, and he's just as efficient, just in a different area.
Well, that's why I want him to be a little bit more of the dog that I know he can be and say, sorry, Kenny, take your paycheck and your unemployment and go sit on a beach in Cabo somewhere drinking Mai Tais because we don't need you anymore. Because guys like him, when things go wrong, those are the guys that pop their heads up and say, hey, follow me, do what I do.
Because I guarantee you, 48-year-old T.O. right now would come out here and do way better than Kenny Galladay. Right now at 48.
Well, probably would.
Look, since we got back onto the New York Giant train.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's talk about
3 minutes. I'm gonna let y'all finish your show and I'll watch.
Let's talk about this game ahead. If you want to stay on, talk about this upcoming game, Lou. Since you're already here, we're talking about the Giants against Jacksonville coming up this week. Expectations, what you look to see, and the fact that I want to say something real quick about the national media because it bothers me. I'm sorry, it bothers me.
Oh, here we go.
The fact that we are the 5-1 New York Football Giants.
And they don't want to give us no respect.
And they want to open the lineup in Las Vegas with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the 2-4 Jacksonville Jaguars, as a 3-point favorite over the 5-1 New York Giants. The disrespect is real. There's no reason a 5-1 team should be 3-point underdogs to a 2-4 Jacksonville Jaguars team.
I don't know about you guys, but 5 is better.
How you really feel, Mac? Tell us how you really feel, Mac.
It's just ridiculous to me. When I saw that line, I thought I had to put my glasses on. Like, wait a minute, did I see that right? Is there really a minus next to -3 next to Jacksonville?
I'm taking the points.
I don't care if they're home. I get it. They play decent at home. I get it. They got a good defense. I get it. They're a little better than people expected them to be. I get all of that. But we 5-1. They 2-4.
Well, you know what, Mac? This is what I say to you. You don't need to work that line, no Vegas line. You just look at the Giants win line, right? Is that better than the Jaguars? Good. Then don't have them not respect us. I don't give a damn. Beat anybody in their schedule. And I know that they're thinking it's a trap game, and I could see the Giants, slipping up, but not with this coaching staff. They're going to be ready to go.
Nope. Absolutely.
Here's my thing. Now, when I started this whole 11-6 shit, right? When the schedule was released, me, Pat, and Joe, and I think a couple of y'all came on because we argued about my picks of 11-6, and I had him put the schedule up. He shared it on the screen, and I gave my reasons for my picks. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, Jacksonville is one of the games I had us losing, as well as Seattle.
I picked us to lose to Jacksonville as well.
Yeah, because that's a cross-country team.
The reason why, though, is because every year, if you guys are Giants fans like I am, you guys have been watching these guys relentlessly for years upon years.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not 10-year-olds. We've been watching these guys for decades, right? So
shout out to all our 10-year-olds out there.
No disrespect to the 10-year-old teeny boppers. My point is, the Giants have like this pattern. Whenever we're doing good, right, we'll come out strong. Like, say we start off 0-2 and then we win 6 games in a row. We're like 6-2, right? Then we drop like 2 or 3 games that we should have won, that were teams that we should have beat, right, in like the middle of the season. And then we're like worried, oh my God, they're 6-4. They lose another one. They might be out of the playoff hunt and all of this. And then we go on like a 5-game winning streak and make a push. Whenever we're having a good season, that's kind of been our MO, our modus operandi. So it's I see us losing maybe 2 of them 4 easy games we're supposed to win. And then like the tough game that everybody's counting us out in Dallas on Thanksgiving, I got us winning. You know what I mean? And I see us splitting one with Philly and sweeping Washington.
I mean, I think all that can happen, to be quite frank. But I'm just saying, me personally, I just like motivation. And to me, I'm going to have that Jacksonville -3 hanging up in the locker room for all my players to see all week long and go down there and make this a statement game, to be quite frank. Because in the offseason, I did pick us to lose this game too. Initially looking at the schedule, thought it was going to be that one of those little weird games we go out there and end up losing to Jacksonville. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, the way what I'm seeing on this field with these New York Giants, I just can't do it. I can't pick us to lose this game right now. I just believe we're flat out better. We're tougher. We're more mentally tough than Jacksonville. They might got some better pieces. You might look at their roster on paper. It might look a little bit better.
They might have some better receivers, but that's it.
But this New York Giant team is for real, man. And everybody want to keep saying, oh, no, they just keep getting lucky and fluky. We 5-1.
Right.
And, a little luck on our side, but we've been getting it done. And it ain't just been all luck.
The only thing you could say luck was them 2 doink field goals that people kicked against us. The rest has been skill and perseverance. Because when Lamar Jackson had the ball and they were supposed to close out that game, Thibodeau stripped them. Leonard Williams came up with the sack. When every time it's been crunch time and we're down in this fourth quarter and we need to play, our defense stands up, then our offense goes down the field and puts up points. Our special teams puts us in good position off the kick returns or pins them deep. We've been playing all 3 phases of the game well. Not great, but well enough to pull out ugly wins. And I'll take an ugly win every fucking Sunday. But
well,
I'll take a win no matter how it goes.
We're not making the costly mistakes that we normally in the past have made. And I think when you play that type of football, let's use the word that we're throwing around here. I guess the word of the day is efficient. We're playing efficient football, and you don't make mistakes, you win these games. When you get to capitalize, that's another thing that we're also got to talk about. They're capitalizing on other teams' mistakes. You know what I mean? Jack with the Panthers, they put up 2 field goals. It's better than putting up 0. I wanted touchdowns, but they put up points on those short fields. This week, Gary Brightwell gets you to the 50-yard line. Boom, boom, boom in the end zone.
Return. Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom in the end zone.
Ravens. And he muscled that dude over too. I was looking back at that highlight. I was like, boy, he ran that dude straight over. That shit was beautiful.
And the mostly disciplined Ravens were undisciplined in the biggest part of the game, right? They couldn't hold their water in the game, and they get an illegal procedure penalty, which is the dumbest penalty. It's not even a fault. It's you don't even know how to line up correctly, which is basic training camp shit, right? He does that. They get the game. They get the first down. Guess what? Now it's 3rd and 5. Bad snap. Lamar Jackson tries to be Houdini and throw like a magic trick and gets picked off, and the Giants return it, put it in the end zone, take the lead. You know what I mean? They give the ball back, and what do? They capitalize again on mistakes. And I think this year, the coaching staff has been better. And I think the message has helped these players out, because last year Fabian Monroe would probably have been giving up a touchdown in Patrick Graham's defense. Okay, but he comes here, plays a Wink Martinsdale's defense after flipping Burgers at McDonald's, comes in here and is playing like he's Philippi Sparks. You're like, what are you doing, man? You shouldn't be playing this well,
bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Matters. And I got to give it to you. I'm not too proud or too much of an egotistical asshole to admit when I'm wrong. You were right about Joe Judge, and I argued with you for about 3 months about it. You know what I'm saying? And I was dead ass wrong. Nigga, I'll eat crow right now. You was right about motherfucking Joe Judge. That dude stink. He is dumpster juice. He is trash. He went over there and tried to kill New England, and Bill Belichick had to take the playbook from his ass. Like, nigga, sit your ass down somewhere.
You don't know what you're doing anymore. I don't know why we got this guy. This is awful.
I don't even know why they brought him in and why they brought him in.
You know what it is?
We were both right in a sense, because you was like, blow it up, get rid of him, and we'll probably be 3 or 5 years before we're good again, right? And I was like, we're only a few pieces away from being good. So we was, I was right about us having good players, but you was right about us having shitty coaches, which is why the good players looked as shitty as the coach did. So,
well, that's what one of my arguments was back then was, why aren't these guys that are being put out here playing they're being asked to? And like Darius Slayton, yes, he's dropped some balls this year, but we all know that Darius Slayton right now has played admirably when he's been called upon. He made a few plays here and there that have helped us win a game, and he's been a professional. Last year, I don't think he's. Last year, I think he gets down on himself. He stays down on himself, and we don't get to utilize him the same way. This year, he could have easily folded up to 10 after dropping a few passes. He did, comes back, makes some plays, and has a big game the next game, a bounce back game. So for me, the coaches have made a message in here, right? They're not talking about wins and losses. They're talking about results. They're talking about execution. They're talking about making the plays. They're making these guys believe in just one play at a time. Joe Judge's dumbass was too busy being such a tight ass to give about the dumb details in life and be a taskmaster that it got everybody all up in their feelings. And when you're in your head and worried about getting yelled at, you don't play loose. These guys play loose. These guys have fun. These guys don't care if they make a bad read or a mistake on the field, because they know their coach is not going to, yell at them or kick them out of a game when they're the best player on the team and they get punched. They're not going to see them the best player get kicked out, sent to the locker room. So that's what I mean. The message is different, and when you have that and you have guys buy in, you can win games like this. This is what we used to do with Coughlin, right? How do we find, these type of players to come in and contribute? Chase Blackburns of the world. It's because they buy into a system. They get coached up by good guys. They're around the guys in the locker room who are also believing, staying longer, doing all these things, and that's what you get. When you get a guy like Joe Judge, you get pizza boxes and filing cabinets and Keurig machines and those type of things. Yeah, it's nice. I like free coffee, but I want to win football games.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that's what it's all about. And that's what the New York Giants have been doing consistently all this season. On a 3-game win streak. Riding high on a 3-game win streak, taking that trip down to Jacksonville, man. So
I'm about to clap some cheeks on Sunday. I don't think that Trevor Lawrence is ready for this, because this is what advantage Giants on defense is you're playing an inexperienced quarterback. That's the one thing I think the Giants have an advantage of. On defense, I'm a little nervous because his defense is pretty good. And I'm not saying they're going to fool Daniel Jones, but when you don't have regular weapons out there, you got to manufacture offense. I feel like the Giants are like a baseball team that doesn't hit home runs, a team that just got to manufacture, steal, third base, hit line drives here and there, and just be efficient with their offense. It's a tough way to win baseball games when you don't have always home runs. I mean, you got one home run hitter, I guess, in Saquon Barkley, so I guess you got one slugger on the roster. But for me, it's like, if he doesn't hit a home run, you get points. How are you manufacturing it? And that's what I think they are. They're a team that kind of, is manufacturing points. And let's see if they can manufacture themselves to a win.
Well, that's the thing. Here's why I like this game to potentially could be a huge game for the Giants in general, but defensively, because Trevor Lawrence is very mistake prone. And I mean, he's got 4 interceptions on the season. Game. And with the Eagle game, he lost 4 fumbles. And sure, our defense might not be quite what the Eagles' defense is, but it's pretty. We got a good defense too, and we can definitely cause some havoc, especially with, like you said, a young quarterback, inexperienced. We can force him to make some mistakes that he's accustomed to making.
Well, we got to stop the run first. We got to stop the run because if you're putting him in short down and distance, it's going to be hard. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, like, if we don't stop the run, that's going to be our Achilles heel this year against teams that eventually we're going to play better than. Like a Geno Smith next week in Seattle. I don't want to have a guy be given yardage because we're giving up 4 yards, 5 yards a clip, and that can keep anybody in the game, even a bad team. Takes one turnover and you're back in the game.
Yeah, but right now, I mean, it's not, like I said, his recipe hasn't been perfect. But it's been effective. So, I mean, I would like to see, like, not always come down to the wire. I would like to see us, like I said, get out there, get out early on somebody and kind of assert ourselves as opposed to having to fall back.
Put on their throat.
And make the comeback, But right now it's been effective, and I just don't have a reason to believe that against a Jacksonville Jaguar team led by a second-year quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, who's playing a lot better than he did his rookie season. I will give him that. But he's still
they made this guy seem like he was Andrew Luck or something like that.
Very, very much mistake-prone quarterback that will throw that game away for Jacksonville. I mean, and then let's just go ahead and punch Evan Ingram in the mouth now just because we allowed to now. Because now we allowed to punch him in his mouth.
Can we clothesline him too? Shit.
Because he did his best to destroy a lot of things going on with this New York Giant team.
Yeah, but guys, he's a Giant. We have to be friendly to can't hate on our. Give me a fucking break.
Really, Miz?
Give me a break.
He said, "Yo, honestly, you're the ugliest 3 on this side of the Mississippi."
He's talking about us as he looked in the mirror. I mean, my God.
No, he can't. His head is our mirror.
The shine is blocking his reflection. He can't see it every day.
The glare is bouncing back off his screen and distorting his vision.
But on a real note, it's like, I'm tired. I agree with Mac. I don't really care about Vegas. I'm not into gambling, so I don't really give. I just look at records and say, don't lose this game. But this is a classic trap game. If the Giants are overlooking a team, they could easily win. But I'm more worried about Seattle because that team's a little bit more put together than the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, if the Giants were 3-3 or something like that. Back. Yeah, Pete Carroll's back in. He's back in doing this thing. It goes to show you maybe Russell Wilson shouldn't have left Seattle. I don't know. I mean, who knows?
Geno's playing out of his mind right now.
No. Geno Smith, who knew? Ex-Giant quarterback.
But we'll be talking about that one a lot more next week, man. But
I'm gonna tell you what pissed me off, fellas. I don't know if you guys saw this today on NFL Network. Sorry, Mac. David Carr, former New York Giant backup quarterback, and the other guy who'll be on the NFL Total Access with him. They pulled up the remaining schedule of the New York Giants and then start going through picks. It's, oh man, I think the Giants could go 12-5. Now, all you hating ass motherfuckers on NFL Network, ESPN, Fox Sports 1, all of them, everybody. was talking shit, dogging the Giants out. Now everybody want to jump on the train. Oh man, Giants could be there.
Oh no, we don't want that. We don't want that. When that happens, we lose. So please stay off the train. It's already heavy enough with people who hate Daniel Jones, and unless you want to come on the 12-5 bus with me. I mean, you can get on the 12-5. Plenty of room.
I still see a lot of shade getting thrown at the Giants. A lot of shade.
Oh yeah,
still getting thrown. We still being called pretenders. All this other
Kirk Cousins is better than Daniel Jones.
They was having a conversation about which New York team got a better shot at going to the playoffs, the Giants or the Jets, and they all. I seen the one panel. I can't even remember who it was.
Talking about the Jets. They all call the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets should have a better shot, and I'm like, I'm not knocking what's going on with the Jets right now. It's looking good over there too, but 5-1 is 5-1. Damn it, put some respect on the 5-1. That's all I'm asking. Put some respect on the 5-1
because they damn sure earned it.
Because there ain't that many 5-1s right now hanging around in the league. It ain't that many. Ain't that many.
This is what they're not talking about. Sorry, Adam. We were down 17-3 against Green Bay.
20
we shut Aaron Rodgers. We shut Aaron Rodgers down. No, at one point it was 17-3.
Oh, yes.
We shut Aaron Rodgers, the MVP of the league at quarterback, right? We shut him down to 0 points minus the 2 points we spotted him at the end of the game in the second half. Then you come back against Lamar Jackson down 10 in the fourth quarter. So we're not just winning games. We're coming back, stopping you defensively and putting up points when we need to. Daniel Jones is starting to become a clutch quarterback. It's like when we're down, he plays better.
Yeah, that's for sure. It is the truth. He does.
No, it's crazy. Now,
but I'm just saying that again, it's funny because
I wasn't happy when we drafted him. Right? I was one of the guys who was like, "Why the fuck did we draft him?" Just being honest.
I was not.
But because he is our quarterback, and he's starting to show improvement, he has progressed exponentially from the last 2 seasons where he was fumble crazy to now where he's protecting the ball. He's more decisive. He has better pocket awareness. He's buying time with his legs. He's keeping his eyes down the field. He's not a one-read quarterback no more. So there's growth there, right? I'm not saying he's
a two-read
Joe Montana or nothing like that, but he is getting better. So as the line starts to get better around him and we start to get better receiver play from these guys, that winning starts to get contagious. You start to build confidence, and then you start to believe in yourself, and that shit makes you play better. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree with everything that you're saying that he's developed. I just see my ceiling with him, and I just see what you're going to get. I'm not impressed with things you're supposed to do as a quarterback. I'm just not. I'm impressed with it. What can you do over achieve when the game is on the line and when we're going to have to use you and throw 40 times, will you come through? Right now, they're doing a great job utilizing what he can do. That's what they're doing. But if dropping back, this team can't drop back. A few reasons. One, John Feliciano can't block a nosebleed. That guy is getting pushed in the backfield every time. He's getting his shit pushed in every fucking week. Okay?
And you know what,
and we can't upgrade
about that? It's the third lineman that the New York Giants have signed that is Latino, and all 3 of them sucked. Garcia, Hernandez, and Feliciano. I'm like, dude, y'all killing me, bro. I'm gonna need y'all to step it up, man.
Well, the thing is,
bad out here, fam. You know,
I was saying to him, a while ago, like that's where the upgrade needs to happen. I don't think the transition for him was easy. He never played center in a game. He played a few snaps in the Raider camp. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. And you can see it when there's a defender head up on him. Boom, he's right through the middle. No, we don't need that. You know, they're doing the accounting. They're doing the accounting. Keep them on the books.
Cut that shit off, yo.
Miss crazy as hell, yo.
But you know, this is kind of interesting because this is how I kind of felt about Daniel and how his career was going. It'd be a little bit like Phil Simms, where he was. I mean, I was too young for Phil Simms, but the stories I got when he was drafted, he was injured. People hated him, like myself, and then somehow he endeared himself to the fans, and they ended up winning. But hey, you know what? We'll see what happens, man. I think in this day and age, you're not going to give him a long-term deal because financially, if you commit to a guy that you're not 100% about, then that could cost you in the long run when you're trying to get players or things that happen. But anyways, we've talked about the NFC East. Our prediction for the games. Let's go through them real quick. I'm assuming we think that the Commanders are going to lose to.
I got the Commanders getting absolutely trashed by the Packers, blown out. I think this was a blowout, maybe the most lopsided matchup of the week.
So you're picking the Packers.
I am picking.
So you're saying there's no chance.
I'm saying they don't have much of a chance. No.
Who they playing?
The Commanders are playing the Packers.
Oh, fuck yeah, Packers. Come on, man.
So I can't see Aaron Rodgers going down 3 weeks in a row.
We're just picking our picks.
I'm not even sure has Aaron Rodgers ever had a 3-game losing streak before. I don't even know if he even has.
I don't think so, and I don't think it's going to happen with the Commanders because Green Bay is going to whip their ass. The Eagles versus nobody. I picked the Eagles. We have the Cowboys against the Lions. I think the Cowboys are going to come back and bounce back in this game. I think they think the Lions are going to give them all they can handle. But in the end, I think the Cowboys, with Dak Prescott, are going to put up some big numbers and try to make a statement like, "Hey, we're still here. We're still the Cowboys. We can still beat lame duck teams like." Feel sorry for Dan Campbell. Watch Hard Knocks. He's a tough dude, but may not be the coach of the Lions much longer. And that brings us to our game.
I'm gonna call it
Jaguars.
Right now. Dak Prescott breaks his thumb again and leaves the game by halftime.
Damn.
And Lou is predicting a injury to a player. Lou, you're a God-fearing man, but yet you're calling out for an injury. My God, what is
I'm not calling out for it. I'm saying what I think is gonna happen because he broke his thumb. He completely broke it. And you're throwing him back in 4 weeks.
It's all right.
One little tap the wrong way on somebody's helmet, somebody's forearm, and he's gonna be screaming in pain.
Listen, he's been playing Xbox, so I think he's good to go.
I'm not wishing nothing on him. I am a God-fearing man. I'm just saying what I think is going to happen. Remember, they threw RG3 back in the game before he was healed 100%, and he re-injured himself, and it shattered his confidence. He was never the same after that.
Whatever he has to do, he must have cleared out because he's not even on the injury report anymore. He's not even on the injury report.
Look. They had him play Call of Duty.
Listed as questionable.
That was their test. They played some Call of Duty and said, "Hey man, my thumbs work. I'm ready to go. Let's suit it up and play." So the Call of Duty test worked. So the Cowboys training staff lets him play on Sunday. Brings us to Jaguars Giants. This is trickery. I think the Giants are going to annihilate this team. I think there's going to be no chance. And I don't normally say that, but I just have that feeling that we're just going to roll over Jaguars. Just roll them over.
The Giants scoring into the 30s this week. Absolutely scoring into the 30s.
Wow, the first time in God knows how long. I can't even count how many hands.
I think we go down there and make a statement at the expense of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I feel like
the Lions ain't disrespect.
I feel like the disrespect is real with this situation. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for the New York Giants to be going into this game as the underdog. There's just no excuse for that. So I feel like you take that motivation, you let it fuel you, and you go out there and you bust the Jacksonville Jaguars' ass. That's exactly how
28-20 is too close of a game for me. It needs to be 35-14.
And I called this score last week, so I'm gonna channel my mojo again. You know what I mean? And I see a 37-17 New York Football Giant win down in Jacksonville.
If that happens, I am mailing you beers. I'm going to go to the store and I will get you your favorite six-pack and I will mail them to you if that's the score. If that's the score, I am doing it. That will be my present to you. Merry Christmas. There'll be a glitter bomb in there so you'll remember me when you open that shit. No, I'm just kidding. But if that happens, 37?
37-17.
If you got to mail him beer, you got to record yourself singing that Christmas song on the way to the mailbox to ship it.
Hey, listen, that song got me the most views on my channel. So,
that shit was awesome, bro. I sat there and watched that whole shit like 3 times. I was like, this motherfucker tripping.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to come up with a new one for the playoffs. So, it's beginning to look a lot like the playoffs. That's all I've gotten so far. So let me work my magic. Get some sticky of the icky in my brain, and maybe things will come out. That's right. You don't smoke crack when you make these videos, because that's what happens. You end up singing the most wonderful time of the year. People think you're a crackhead. And those are the comments you get. Hey,
every week it's a football holiday.
There you go.
Throw them touchdowns with DJ, and don't forget Barkley.
The fact you got the defense, Kayvon Thibodeau, Landon Williams.
The fact that we sitting in a position where this could actually be a reality, the Giants in the playoffs could be a reality. After 6 weeks of football so far,
it's going to be a reality.
Very good thing. Very, very good
season
thing.
For the first time in a decade.
I behaved long enough. You guys all called me crazy when I said 11-6.
Oh, we're back on that bullshit.
Look, all right, I told you. I hopped on the train. I hopped on the 11-6 train.
Screw your 11-6. I'm taking the 12-5 bus. Screw you. It's good. Sorry, left the game.
Then you're jumping on Joel's bus, because Joe was the first one to say 12-5.
Well, then I'm going on 10-7. Then
now you're on Pat's bus.
I can't be on it by myself.
But y'all know, man, it's been a fun one, man. Lou, thanks for jumping on. Everybody out there in the chat, man.
Guest on, so thank you.
Sub up to G Nation.
Inside Sports. Sub these two guys right
definitely
here.
Sub up to me and Adam, man, if you're new to the channel.
Yeah, y'all go sub Adam, man. Y'all disrespectful, man. God damn, man. The man been putting videos out for the longest. Y'all better go subscribe, or I'm going to send Tanya Harden's boyfriend to come Nancy Kerrigan your asses.
That's Lou sending the boyfriend, just let you know.
Also, sub up to the Hardcore Sports Network as well, and just, join me on Sunday after the game, immediately following the game, like I do after each and every New York Football Giant game, for another edition of the True Blue Aftermath live on my channel, where we will be talking about how we just trashed the Jacksonville Jaguars.
37-17. Mac is getting some beers.
Crazy.
It is definitely
not if they win. Not if they win. If they hit that
Jacksonville
score,
is interested in him, Miz.
Who cares about that? Good, take him. He can go rap down there too. That's where he lives, down in Tallahassee.
Well, yeah, like I said, until he's on the field, I don't even care about.
Ryan Dunleavy reported it.
My breath.
Then it must not be true. Oh God, Ryan Dunleavy.
But we about to wrap this one up, y'all. And I really like to thank y'all for coming out. And you know where you can find me and Adam at next Wednesday. Same bat channel, same bat time, for another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Round-Up. Hey! I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants Fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants Fan. That's MacDa Giants Fan.